Delaware reported on December 17th the Omicron variant is in the state. How do we know it's here?
So many labs, including our own public health lab in Delaware, has sequencing capabilities, which means that we can identify the specific strain or variant for any infection. So for this instance, we discovered through sequencing that we did discover the Omicron variant.
Could you explain what sequencing is and how it differs from a typical test for COVID-19?
So sequencing is very different from your typical COVID test, compared to PCR, which is the polymerase chain reaction test, or your rapid antigen test. So with sequencing, it looks in the genome or the actual genetic code of the virus to kind of determine what type of mutations are there and resulting in a type of variant. Versus your typical PCR antigen test, it just tells you whether you have COVID or not.
How long does it take to do a sequencing test compared to regular COVID testing?
So because the sequencing test is a little more complex and detailed, it takes a little bit longer versus your PCR or rapid antigen test. So it could take up to a week depending on the mutations or the genetic code itself.
How many positive tests in Delaware are sequenced to check for variants?
So we do a lot more testing than we do sequencing. Not all tests get sequenced. So it's hard to say the actual percentage of all specimens get sequenced. Any specimen that should be sequenced will be sent to the lab, and our goal is to sequence 100% of positive results that are sent to our lab.
Are individuals who test positive told what variant they have?
So individuals are not told what they have. Most of the time, we don't even have identifiers or know where the test or the specimen's coming from. And actually, our test is only approved for surveillance and not for diagnostics. Just want to remind people that the variants, whether you have the Delta or the Omicron or other variant, does not change how you manage the COVID. So it really doesn't make a difference what variant you have. We just collect the data for surveillance purposes.